Hi, this is Matt Donegan from Challenger Stories. I'm here with Filip. Filip is the co-founder and director of They, a multidisciplinary software development agency. He's got a reputation for working with startups, but so much more as well. Filip, thank you for joining me today. Tell me about They. How did you start the business?
Sure. So thanks, Matt, for having me. So yeah, I started the business with my business partner. Basically, we started as two freelancers, developers, like full stack developers, working together, building the projects, and basically that's how it started. So we organically grow from like two people to like 30 right now. Yeah, so like we started in 2017. We are both at some point working in the corporate projects. Like with time, we didn't like the amount of management, bureaucracy, etc. So we wanted to basically build software, and that's how the company started. We wanted to put developers very close to the clients, so developers to business. So in our company, everybody talked to each other. We don't really have any project managers or people in between the business and developers. We always have some kind of lead developer that is talking directly to the client, but like the main goal here is to understand the business on both sides, and basically make it like as close cooperation as possible.
Okay. So it's often said that businesses are started and have three different types of people in them. The entrepreneur who's the visionary for the business, who sees a gap in the market and is the one who's gone for it. Then you've got the technicians, the people who actually deliver the service. And then you have the managers who are the guys that run projects, that run the business, that run the framework and the infrastructure of the business. So you've come from a technical background.
Yeah.
How have you managed to implement the other elements of this, the management side, the entrepreneurial side? What's been your journey there?
Sure. So I would say the hard way. So like I started from the technical background. I really wanted to be an entrepreneur and basically learn my way through it. But like I must admit that, at the very beginning it was a pure chaos. But basically we're doing a good job and we're just going from project to project, from client to client based on the reviews, happy customers, and I would say this was much easier than days. But like with time, and as soon as the team have grown to like, I don't know, 10 people, some like a little bit above 10, I needed to learn a bit more about the management, about sales, marketing, basically, making the company much more stable. And that's basically how I learned the management skills, and I'm still learning it. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a perfect manager. I'm still learning it, and I would say like at this point I'm much more into management than coding and then development. But like it was like pretty long way.
Yeah, I bet it was, and it's sometimes we all keep learning, right? When you run a business, you keep learning. That's one major fact.
Yeah.
So you started up, you've worked with dozens of startups developing digital products. What's the focus for the business now?
So we still want to develop cool products, but like we've built a lot of products that were like not very market ready, not very market like needed by the market. And that's why we want to switch a little bit from the startups into more kind of research teams or the teams that are developing solutions around the universities or around the problems that are actually there. There are, let's say, like initial studies around it, and people are working like from the research and development point of view, and they are at the stage where they want to digitalize or make it commercial ready solutions. So this is a kind of direction we want to get into right now. Like as I said, like historically we've built a lot of startups, and some of them basically died, some of them did not have this purpose of this real problem they were solving. So that's like, in the meantime, we developed the departments to support them. So for example, design department, the quality assurance department to help validate and make sure that after releasing the product, it will survive basically, because like we didn't like to build products that die after MVP. Yeah. And to like continue this mission, adding on top of that the slight change of the direction of like which startups we are working with.
So you're more focused on the research teams who, having done research, have defined there's a problem in the marketplace, or there's a problem in healthcare, in med tech. They're the kind of areas that you're focused on at the moment. Is that right?
Exactly right. Yeah. So like we really like working with researchers because like they know what they do, they know the problem, they know like technically are capable of solving some problems. Yeah. Maybe at some point they write some papers on it, but we are sure that at least we are working on the problems and helping teams to solve the problems that are like real life not just a fake one or just to keep up with the recent market trends.
So you're no longer building digital products for a solution to a problem that no one has. That's what
Exactly right, yeah. Or at least we are trying to avoid it. And we always had the consulting approach to all the projects and all the work that we're doing. With time, we are going deeper and deeper into this. And right now we are trying to advise the founders if we see that, for example, they haven't done the market research, or we've seen very similar products that died and we know that maybe it is not the best approach, or maybe basically the best problem to solve. We are trying to advise as early and as good as possible as we can.
So when you're building a digital product that's going to help a research team commercialize their endeavors, their research, is there a process that you go through with that?
Yes. So there's a couple of challenges that we can focus on, and there is a couple of basically steps that we need to take. So first of all, we need to make sure that what's working in the lab or in a test environment, or basically when the team is working on it, it is possible to recreate in the real market. So let's say it can be, any legal limitations or any technical limitations, or for example, the cost limitations, because when there's two people testing something and there is some API or a platform that is solving the problem for them, it might be totally different story when there will be 1,000 or 10,000 people using it. The cost might be totally different. So we have to check with the market and with the real life scenarios how it will go, and then we take it through standard startup stages. So we build a POC that is publicly available, of course, for the QAs and for the team. Then we build a kind of POC that will be wider distributed, and then we basically scale up the MVP, so give it to wider audience. That's the point where all the marketing and sales and all the different aspects of building company, not only the research, is important to basically bring people to the solution we are building.
So you mentioned MVP, minimal viable product, MVP, and you mentioned POC, which is that proof of concept.
Exactly.
So you take that proof of concept through the MVP, and then you're looking to see how that might scale, I guess. So how many of the clients that you're working with are asking for AI integrations in the products that you're building?
Sure. So I would say more and more, especially in the recent year, the trend is that it is growing, and sometimes there is a great opportunity in it, but sometimes it is only for the pure marketing perspective that we are building a website or a platform or a SaaS product or whatever, and we need to have AI because other ones have AI, and right now everything needs to have AI. It is not always needed. Adding AI for the problems that are already solved, or there is no thinking around it, we can just write an algorithm and have it correct 100% of the time. There is no need for AI, but of course there are cases where it's needed.
Yeah, it reminds me of the early days of the internet. If you can go back that far, we're talking more than 20 years ago, more than 25 years ago, and every single business out there put a .com after their name and said that they were a web-ready business. And the truth of the matter was that many businesses weren't suited to do that, and that's going to be the case with AI as well. Although it offers incredible benefits to the right product, I agree that some products just perhaps don't need it. Certainly not in the way that we believe they do at the moment. But look, that's some of the challenges in the marketplace. I kind of get the feeling, in fact, I know that we could talk about that for hours. I'm really keen on hearing about your challenges. What's been your challenges in growing the business? So you've been going since 2017, for two of you. Now you've got a team of 30. What's been your challenges along the way?
Sure. Main challenge for the agencies like ours is that the amount of work and the amount of people power that we have, because basically we take the project in-house and we build it, and sometimes it is a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and a couple of developers are working on it, and it ends. And sometimes we stop after the MVP, and client goes to the public, they ask for feedback, gather customers, etc., and we are waiting, and they got back to us after, for example, an investment, or after actually gathering the traction, etc. So for us, constant balancing of the amount of people we have in our team and the amount of work we have and the pipeline of sales we have ahead was always the main challenge for our company, and Still is, yeah.
So when it comes down to it, I guess a lot of businesses look for the critical number. That number that looks at how efficient, productive, effective and profitable the business is. And I guess yours is based on utility of your staff members, and having that kind of fine balance is kind of critical, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of KPIs we are measuring it. This is one of them. That's like the most straightforward one. So as soon as all of our people are busy, and on the other hand, we don't have to resign from any clients, it is a sweet spot for us to grow.
Sure. Okay. Some of the challenges that you're being confronted with. What else? What's keeping you up at night?
Sure. So main challenge and the most fun part of my work is basically designing the solutions and helping clients from the design/development perspective. So basically planning the solutions, planning how to handle given problems. Sometimes it comes to building algorithms, sometimes it is to researching what's already on the market, what we can use to handle the problem within a given time frame, cost frame, etc. So for me, still planning the work for our clients, making sure that what we will build will be market ready and it will solve the problem with the the cost and the tooling or the technologies that will be easy to use and effective. That's the most interesting part for me, and that's basically why I constantly develop the company.
Right. So that's your reason for getting out of bed every day, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's been your biggest learnings then as a business owner?
That I still don't know what I don't know, and the biggest learning that at the very beginning, as I said, there was a pure chaos. It was two developers building the team around them and basically helping clients, constantly developing the projects too. So basically sitting and coding, in the meantime talking to next customers and maybe managing the team, etc. Right now we've got the virtual assistant, we've got much more management skills and a lot more processes in the company.
Yeah.
Yet still there are new challenges coming. At this point we are 10 times better managing the finances, although still we don't know how to do some certain decisions. It is a constant learning, I would say.
Yeah, as it is running a business. Particularly if you've gone through, there's the three different routes I mentioned: the entrepreneur, the business manager, the technician. Very often they don't actually have a business background, and every single business is built on the same framework. Lots of businesses don't understand that or haven't. It's what you don't know, what you don't know. But there's a wealth of information out there, so that the frameworks are in place for you in order to do that. So sometimes it's about learning on the job, and sometimes it's kind of like reading the manual. If there were a manual.
Exactly.
So there is a bit of that. So that's been a kind of key learning for you over the time that you've been running the business. If you were to look back and reflect upon running the business, is there one thing you would have done differently?
For sure, I will learn delegating earlier on. For a very long time, we are two co-founders of the company, and a lot of things we're doing on our own, better or worse, we're learning on the fly. But basically the delegating was a big change for us. For example, hiring first virtual assistant that took out a lot of tasks, repetitive tasks from us. That was a huge change. Wow. And I think that was a kind of limiting factor for the company, that we couldn't focus on the strategy or the wider perspective than just sending reports or talking to the customers and replying everything on our own.
Doing the do as opposed to designing the business.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so one last question for you, and that's, if you could go back in time, or even better, you bump into your 18-year-old self walking along the street, what would you say to them?
Okay. So definitely I would say that you will never have that level of energy that you have right now, or in your 20s or 20-something, the amount of hours I spent coding, or for example doing the projects on the university, is enormous in comparison to how much I work right now and how much I reasonably can work right now. So that's one thing. Second thing, maybe that's not really applicable to the 18 years old, but a bit later, that there's always more to do than you can do. And for me, the to-do list is infinite. There are always much more tasks than I can handle. So yeah, so that would be the second learning.
Right. Lots of key lessons there throughout the whole time. But lots of energy, deploy energy in the right place, and kind of enjoy what you're doing as you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Philip, I'm really interested to find out how you're getting on with these research businesses. But I love the healthcare space. I love medtech, and actually turning real, genuine problems into products that can help people's lives. That's super rewarding, and that's what you guys are doing now. Not building products for problems that don't exist. There's been too many of those out there. Good investors' money has been burnt doing that, which is a real shame. So, and your time, you want to create something which is important to people, obviously. That goes without saying, and that's admirable. So, Philip, thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I wish you all the best. Let's keep in contact. I want to find out how you're getting on with these research teams, because it sounds like that's the right place for you to be delivering solutions for. So, Philip, today, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.